myself and from the Joby College for giving me an opportunity to share some knowledge regarding an introductory part of supply chain management based on my teaching experience and my PhD experience. So let me share my PPT. So we all are faculties. So just I'm sharing my knowledge. So at the end we can have some discussion. What is the current status of supply chain management and where it is growing? All that we can discuss. So thank you once again. So let me need permission from your side, sir, to present. Okay. Is my PPT is visible, sir? Now, what about now, sir? Okay, 1 second, sir.
No.
Okay. So once again, welcome. So I think this is the third day of FDP on faculty empowerment in quality, industrial systems and safety. So my presentation is based on supply chain management. So this we can align with the second part of your topic, that is the industrial systems. So this is my presentation objectives. So try to understand why we should know about SCM, that is supply chain management, and what is SCM, supply chain management, the common drivers of supply chain, then inventory management, that is one subpart of the supply chain, and how we can evaluate the performance of supply chain, and some measurement methods, and finally some concepts regarding the recent AI in supply chain management. So if time permits, I will touch that also. Now, I hope most of you are from the background of mechanical engineering, and maybe UG, PG, or PhD holders will be there. So all of us know there are several field or branches of mechanical engineering as manufacturing engineering, thermal engineering, design engineering, and acoustic engineering, vehicle engineering. Like that, we can define IE also. Industrial engineering is also a subfield of this ME. Even though it is maybe related to some management part, it is also coming under the family of mechanical engineering or ME. So what is this industrial engineering means? The definition and focus. So in industrial engineering, the focus is on optimizing the complex process systems and organizations. So in every system, there will be some resources will be there, even if it is a production system or a service system, resources will be there. Our aim is to maximum utilization or optimum utilization of the resources, such a way that useful products or services are coming from it. Then this objective we can achieve through implementing IE concepts. So maybe it is related to mechanical engineering or any other engineering field, resources will be there. So that resources, effective utilized resources can be obtained by using IE concept. So recently, there is a journal published, and most of you are aware about this IJPR journal, those who are from the industrial engineering field, which is published by Taylor and Francis. There's a journal titled Grand Challenges in the Industrial and Systems Engineering, authored by around 12 pioneer authors. They have defined industrial engineering. This actually I am taken entirely from the journal. Okay, they have defined industrial engineering There have 14 subfields in the industrial engineering. That is starting from work, design and measurement, operation research and analysis, engineering economic analysis, facilitate engineering, energy management, and operations engineering and management. And one of the subfield is the supply chain management or SCM. So our today's discussion on the supply chain management, which is a subset of IE. IE is a subset or subfield of ME. We can define like that. So I'm not going to explain any mathematical terms or any mathematical jargons, only some theoretical concept. That is why I'm titled it as Introduction to Supply Chain Management. So what is supply chain management? How we can define it? What are the researches going on that? Like that. Now, then as I mentioned, who is an industrial engineer? Just I mentioned, industrial engineer who is dealing with the manage material, machines, money, information, time, who is able to implement effectively all these resources in a system such a way that getting your a useful product in an optimized way. That is a role of an industrial engineer. Now, just now when I mentioned, these are the subfields of IE. 14 subfields are there, like in manufacturing, information technology, healthcare, education, management, technical sales, and marketing. So from this, SC is one of the subfields in that IE. Now, how this supply chain and manufacturing are linked? Because we are most commonly known to manufacturing, whether it is a subset of supply chain or supply chain is subset of manufacturing, like that. So in every manufacturing activities is associated with the supply chain. Manufacturing activities fall within a supply chain or SC. How it is fall? So that is the second one. So the role of supply chain management ensure that necessary raw materials arrive from the, we can look like this. The raw materials coming from the vendors to the manufacturing area through some suppliers, and some processing will be happen in the factory, that will be distributed through the useful distribution device. That means the logistical facilities will be there. That will be transported to the distributor, from the distributor to the wholesaler, wholesaler to the retailer, retail finally it reaches to the customer. It's actually a flow, like a flow. So all this arriving of raw materials to the supplier end and all the movement of raw materials then to the semi-finished goods, semi-finished goods to the different stations, then finished goods to the distribution center, then from to the retail center, then finally to the customer. All that is, these activities are a part of manufacturing, and it is actually the supply chain. So supply chain, the manufacturing industry, the supply chain, if you are able to manage effectively all these activities, then we can say that that is a successful manufacturing field. Not only the production only, the entire acquirement of your raw materials and movement of raw materials through different stations, and final movement of finished product from the retailer end to the customer. So this is why how the manufacturing and supply chains are linked. So why, as a academician or a common people, why you should know about supply chain? So if I am asking these questions, do you like to eat? Do you like nice clothes? Do you enjoy your technology? Do you care about your health? Do you like socialize? Do you have saving money? If all of us, the answer will be yes. Okay. Then one of the reasons you can enjoy all these goods and activities through the operations of supply chain, which is associated with every activity which I listed here. So in one way or another way, one of the reason. So as a supply chain of food supply chain is there. As it is working very well, we are able to eat daily. So in everyday life, the supply chain activities or operations of supply chains are linked with an everyday activity. So that's why we should know about this basic knowledge regarding the supply chain as an academician, as or a common man. Now, where all this we can find the supply chain? You can see food supply chain. So where the you are getting the items from the farmer, then it is processed, then finally it is reaches to the customer. There we can the food supply chain. Then we have the construction supply chain, the supply chain which is related to the construction area. And we have the electronic supply chain. Then cold supply chain, which is related to the process and delivery and packing of the items to be kept in a cold storage. And that will be transported to the refrigerator transportation system. Now we have the bed supply chain, bed to be collected from the people, that to be stored in a, hospitals in a particular area, then to be supplied to the patients which is needed. That is a bed supply chain. And the vaccine supply chain, we are familiar with this term during the time of COVID, how the vaccine is distributed. So there will be a supply chain system is there. And there are also airline supply chain. And we have the electricity supply chain and software supply chain. So in every part of life, the supply chain is linked in one way or another way. So the supply chain common some entities will be there. So we can identify that common entities. So that we can relate it with that entities with each field. So that's why the supply chain is linked to the every part of our life. Now, when we are coming to, we can take a simple example, simple bread supply chain, how the bread delivery is happening. What are the processes associated with the supply chain? Now, let us take a one by one step related to this bread supply chain. So, initially we know farmer who sow the seeds, he will be sow the seeds, and he will collect the wheat and it sells to the businessman. Then the baker will be there, the flour mills will be there, that will be powdered. Then that will be given to the baker. The baker will convert that into breads, and that breads that will be transported or distributed through vehicles to the bakery. The customer will approach here. The customer, the bakery person will sell that bread. The customer buy it, then he enjoys. So this is actually the processes associated with the simple bread supply chain. So the one way only I'm showing, only one farmer, like that, just for representation only. So these are the activities associated with the simple bread supply chain. The farmer who is sowing the seeds, the businessman who is collecting the wheat, the baker who is converting that wheat flour into or atta into bread, and the bakery person who is selling the bread, and finally the customer who is buying this bread. All these members are part of the supply chain. So there may be, depends upon the diversity or the nature of the product, the supply chain structure may expand. If it is simple, very simple item, there may be a linear life supply chain will be there. Depends upon the number of raw materials providers, suppliers, those who are in that system, and depends upon the process associated with that supply chain system. This may vary. Now, what we are seeing here, so this is actually network of business. So every place we can see businessmen. We can consider the farmer as a businessman. The businessman who is collecting the wheat is also we can consider as, and the baker who is converting the wheat flour into bread is another businessman. So every stage we can be consider the businessman or a person who is involved, a party who is involved in supply chain. So these business persons are interconnected. So either the manufacturing of the product or delivering the service or that are required by the customers or the consumers. So is the structure of the simple bread supply chain to just understand how the supply chain is working. So there are so many components associated with supply chain. There will be a planning stage. What we are doing the planning, checking the demand for the product or the service, because before you are starting any production, we need to have what to produce, how much quantity to produce. Then we have, accordingly we need to plan it. If there is a proper plan, their production will be proper. We can produce up to some level based on our some forecast or and all. So there will be deviation from the forecast will be very less if our plan is accurate. It is a planning is the first stage. Then customer demand information. So what is actually happening in the market? If you are not looking into the market, if you are not taking the information with the customer feedback or customer review, so your production will not be good in quantity. There is an either you may produce more, or that is your stocking more, or your production will be very low. So there's a chance for the inventory excess and inventory loss if you are not looking to what is happening in the market. So that is a second stage, customer demand, getting information from the customer. Then third component is sourcing. So identify the suitable raw materials providers. Okay, suitable raw materials providers who are ready to provide the raw materials required for your product in a most cost effective way. That is a third item. Then inventory. The inventory is all the resources which are available, all the physical materials that may be in the form of raw materials, or maybe in the form of semi-finished goods, or maybe in the form of finished goods. So that you may store in your raw materials area, or this you are keeping it as a finished goods for delivery or for sale. Now the next is the production. All of us know production, what is happening. The system is there. You are converting the raw materials into product or services. Now warehousing. So the location where you are keeping the finished goods for further distribution or further selling. There may be warehouses will be there, distribution centers will be there, and these warehouses to be well connected to the your production facility as near as possible. Now the next component is the transportation to carry the raw materials to the manufacturing unit, and also delivering the final product to the market, and returns of goods. So after suppose you are the producer or you are the manufacturer, you are delivering the product to the customer, then story is not ending there. You need to make a follow from the customer. So good feedback or good complaint follow up is a very effective way of dealing the customers. So you are only delivering the product, then you are stopping there, then you won't get much customers on next time. So the return of goods is there, or any failure for your goods, that also take into care when you are existing in the market. So these are some of the basic components associated with supply chain management. So the effective association of these components, maybe more than 2 or 3 components working properly, may not lead to the effective working of supply chain management. If all these components are working together, then the supply chain profit will be maximized and the customers also will be satisfied. So with this aspect, how this SCM is developed, or what is the evolution of the supply chain management? Actually, we can say that 1950s, there is a concept of the traditional manufacturing. Then thereafter, the inventory management concepts or cost estimation concepts are coming into technology of IE. In 1970, inventory management, we have a detailed discussion regarding this, what is inventory management, what is the role of inventory management in the supply chain. Then thereafter, the concept of JIT, just-in-time manufacturing, total quality management, business process re-engineering. So all allied fields are coming around on this period. Then thereafter, the official confirmation or definition regarding supply chains are put forwarded. Then there are a lot of development in supply chain area. Currently, most of the supply chains are related, integrated with the AI tools or more advanced technological things in the supply chain management or management of the supply chain. So it's about some evolutions of supply chain capabilities. So with this, all this introduction, can I define the supply chain in an academic point of view? So far what I have discussed, just an introduction to the supply chain. So there is an academic definition for the supply chain. Is actually we can say that Simchi Levy, this picture is taken from there. He's actually not. We can consider this textbook as one of the Bible in supply chain, and also one other book is there, supply chain management. So in that book, the definition is that the supply chain consists of geographically dispersed facilities. The facilities means the facilities are in the form of raw material providers, the manufacturer, the wholesaler, the distributor, retailer, and the customer is also coming there. So these are the geographically dispersed facilities. A supply chain consists of all these facilities. So depends upon the nature of the product, as I mentioned, nature of the product, the complexity of the product, the steps in the production process, the number of facilities may vary. So that is a geographically dispersed facilities. Then the second concept is where raw materials, intermediate products, or finished goods services. So these are the three types of inventories. Inventories, raw materials, inventory in intermediate products, or semi-finished goods, or pipeline inventory. Then we have the finished goods. All these are the part of this supply chain. And the raw materials are acquired, and the production stage that will be transformed into a product or a useful service. Then it will be stored at a proper place. Then it is sold to the customer. So this is the third activity associated with the supply chain. Then all these items, the facilities, the service of the product or service, serving the product or service, all the transformation process are linked through the transportation facilities to transfer the items between the facilities. So the picture shows the suppliers, one facilities, the manufacturers are there, the warehouses to distribute, they are linked together. So the flow from the supplier, the material is coming to the manufacturer, the manufacturing process is happening here, then that will be transferred to the warehouses, then it will be finally reaches the customer, then customer will enjoy. So this is the one academic definition for the supply chain. One more definition regarding the supply chain. SCM is an art of managing the flow. Just redefinition of the previous one. SCM is the art of managing the flow of materials, information, financial resources from source to user by effective integration of these facilities. So the effective integration, not only keeping all this, suppose this is a simple supply chain, there is a raw material provider to supply to supplier, the manufacturing is happening here, distribution, these all are part of the supply chain. If they are stay as individual, suppose the manufacturer is existing for to increase his own profit, so then his profit will be increased, but the entire supply chain profit may be decreased. What is the entire supply chain profit? The profit associated with the entire members of the supply chain, So we can improve the performance of the entire supply chain only through the effective integration of these facilities. If in a supply chain, because there is a common saying regarding the supply chain is that we can consider this as a chain. Chain means there are links are there. So the strength of a supply chain depends upon the weakness of the lowest, which is suppose link in that. Which one is the weakest link in that supply chain? The strength of that supply chain, the strength of that link. Why? Suppose the relation between the supplier and manufacturer is very poor. Supplier and manufacturer is very poor. What happening? The entire supply chain will not work in proper manner. So between them, the relation is poor, integration is poor. So as they are not working properly, the entire supply chain will fall down due to the lack of integration between two these members. So when you are supply chain management, the chain itself means, as I mentioned, it's a linking between the facilities. So the effective integration is very much important. If all entities are existing individually, that will not lead to the effective integration. That is why the SCM is known as an art. So there must be a person to take care of this. To take care of this, so he is known as the manager. That's why the management is coming. So that's why the three terms, what is supply, why it is known as chain, supply chain, then why it is known as supply chain management. Supply means of supply between the facilities. The chain means the linking between the facilities, and the management means proper management or proper take care of all these activities among the members of the chain. So that's why it is known as the supply chain management. Now, when you take a supply chain, so this is actually a representation of a single linear type supply chain. Why it is known as linear type? Here we have only supply. This is actually hypothetical because nowadays the supply chain members are, there's a complicated relation between not only a single supplier, not only a single manufacturer, single distributor, single retailer. Okay, like that. So this is a simple linear supply chain where only a one supplier, one manufacturer, one distributor, and one retailer. So if you take this supply chain, simple linear supply chain, the upper part of the supply chain, actually just starting from the supplier. Before that, maybe raw material supplier will be there. Raw material supplier, the supplier. So this raw material supplier. So this portion is known as the upstream portion of this supply chain. Now, the person who is purchasing the finished goods from the retail store, they are the customers, they are part of the downstream part of downstream of the supply chain management. So why we are putting this term? For some more definitions are coming, some more terms are associated with supply chain. So identification of that, to identify in which items are flowing, information is flowing in which direction, finance is flowing in which direction, the product is flowing in which direction. To identify that, to define that, we are giving these two terms: the upstream part of the supply chain and the downstream part of the supply chain. Now, so the SCM is about, as I just mentioned, effective integration of the right product. So if the supply chain is working properly, the right product will be delivered to the customer. Now, the right quantity, the quantity should be right, and the right quality is also a thing which is related to the SCM. Now, at the right place, at the right time, and the right value. So the integration is proper. The effective integration is happening between the members of supply chain. Then all these targets will be achieved. Targets will be achieved. The right product will be delivered. It will be in the right quantity, right quality, at the right place, at the right time, and the right value. That is about the SCM. Now, let me take an example, Walmart supply chain model. So most of us are heard about this Walmart. They have the manufacturer, their outside overseas manufacturers are there. From there to the ship or any other transportation system, that will be the supplier will be supplying the raw materials to the manufacturing center. Then the finished goods are transported to the distribution centers. Then the distribution center to the stores. Then the customers will visit these stores. Then Walmart supermarket, they purchase the items required for them. So this is not a serial supply chain. Why it is not a serial? There are lot of distribution centers are there, lot of transportation facilities are there, and production facilities will be more, and the stores will be more. They are all linked. There is a not only the truck is not transporting only not to the one distribution, it is transporting to the two or more distribution centers, and from the distribution center which is serving not only a single store, that may be serving two or more stores. Okay, the customer will be visiting not only one store, maybe visiting 2-3 stores. Like that, it is a not a representation of an example for a diverse type. divergent type supply chain. Now, what we are getting from the effective management of this SCM, so we can reduce uncertainty along the chain. Why? If everything is defined and everything is integrated well, and proper information is sharing between the facilities of supply chain, the uncertainty will be reduced. If uncertainty is reduced, we can production will be going smooth manner. Then we can attain the profit. That profit can be shared among the members of the chain. That is, together we can grow. That is a concept of this integration in SCM. Then proper inventory levels in chain. There will not be excess inventory and low inventory. That is a proper inventory level through the supply chain management. Then next benefit is minimize delay. So there will be lower lead time, or we can minimize the delay between the order taking and delivery of orders. Now, proper we can provide good customer service to the customer who is buying the product from the retailer end. Now, what about the problems along the supply chain? Even though we have the facilities are there, we are not the entities are not integrated well, that may leads to the delays in production or distribution. Expensive inventory will be accumulated in the maybe in the production facility, or in the retailer facility, or in the distribution facility. So this lack of partnership leads to the uncertainties in the management of inventory, uncertainties in the delivery, and poor quality product may be delivered. Then finally, the SCM may collapse. So when SCM is collapsed, not only a single facility is collapsed, the entire members in the supply chain is collapsed. So that is why the problems, if you are not managing well a supply chain. Now, let us see some of the terms associated with the supply chain when we talk about SCM in academic point of view. To define, as I mentioned, to define measure the performance of supply chain, the working of supply chain, some terms are required. So let us go through some of the terms which is associated with the supply chain. Demand forecasting. So using the historic data to determine the direction of future demand trends. So we all know what is a forecasting. So using the historic data, we are trying to predict what will happen in the future. Then inventory. This shows the complete listing of stock on hand, work in progress, raw materials, finished goods on hand. And the third is the inventory policy. This is very much important. When go through the inventory management, there are two decisions to be taken. So these decisions taken are known as the policies or rule. The two decisions are when to order and how much to order. So when you are answering these two questions, you are preparing or you are adopting a good policy for your inventory management. That is why it is known as the inventory policy or inventory role. So that is the third term associated with your supply chain management. Now, review period. When we are ordering something, the order time will be there. So what is the time between successive valuation inventory status to determine your order? What is the time gap between the successive orders? So that is defined as the review period. Now we have the another time, lead time, which is a time gap between, suppose the placing an order, you are placing an order, and when you are getting an order, the time gap between order lead time, order placing an order, delivering the item. Review period means the time gap between placing two orders. That is the review period. Don't confuse with the review period and the lead time. The review period is regarding your time gap between orders, and your lead time means the time gap between placing an order, getting the product, or replenishment, the time gap taken for the replenish the product to your shelf. That is the lead time. Now we have the on-hand inventory. Next time, the inventory readily available to meet demand. Suppose there is a sudden demand is there, customer, the quantity which is available in your shelf to meet that demand is known as the on-hand inventory. On on-order inventory, you are expecting, you ordered something, but in the pipeline, which is on the pipeline, yet to come to your retail shop. So that is known as the on-order inventory. Now, so these are the some of the terms why we are defining these terms in the later stage to define or identify the supply chain performance measures. These terms are coming, so that's why I'm just mentioning these terms. Now, in a supply chain, the different phases of decisions are there. We are familiar with this decision, the strategic decisions, then planning decisions and operational decisions. We maybe studied the strategic, what is planning and operation. When we are considering this decision in terms of supply chain scenario that I am going to define. So these decisions are categorized based on the frequency and time frame of impact. Frequency and time frame of impact. So what is the supply chain strategic decisions means? The decisions have a long-term impact. Long-term impact, long-term impact, and the frequency is, it is not occurring every time. Frequency will be very low. Suppose you are locating a place to erect your plant. Erect your plant. That is actually a one-time decision. Once you decide, you can't change that decision for a year and year. Okay, and define the capacity of the plant. Then product manufactured up to levels transportation facility to be adopted. So these are all a strategic decision which have an impact of long time. And once you decided on the strategic things, you can't change because it is a huge uh, amount of capital you are investing for finding the location, to erect your plant, to define the capacity of your plant, to identify the type of the products to be manufactured. So all these are coming under the strategic decision in the supply chain scenario. Now, what are the planning decision? So this may have an impact of 15 or 20 years in the case of strategic. The planning decisions, suppose subcontracting decision, because that you can change. The other you can change the renew the contract within 2 years or 3 years, because the planning decisions have an impact will be medium level. Then the subcontracting, the inventory policy to be adapted, the promotional features, all these have an impact of a medium period that may extending maybe 3 to 4 or 5 years. That is a planning decisions. Now, the third decision phase is the operational decision. The operational decision have a frequency will be very high. Frequently it will occur, and the time frame of impact will be, suppose the work schedule for a 1 week, work schedule for 1 week, for the allocation of inventory, replenishment order, the time gap between two orders, review period. So these are all operational decisions, and which all to be allocated to the shop floor. Like accordingly, the shift preparation. So these are operational decisions. Maybe we can define the day-to-day decisions, or maybe have an impact of 1 week, or maximum of 2 weeks, or maybe 1 month. So that decisions are coming in the supply chain decisions. So when you consider supply chain, all the decisions have its own role. So we need to take a strategic decision sometime, we need to take planning decision sometime, or we need to take some operational decision. Then only the supply chain will work properly. Now, let me show a case study. Some of you are aware about this case study. Mumbai Debbawala supply chain. You may be wondering what kind of product they are delivering, whether it is a product or a service. The Mumbai Debbawala, actually Debbawala means lunch box carrier. So how they are providing these lunch boxes in a more effective way. There is a Mumbai Debbawala supply chain. Actually, it is a supply chain case study. Actually, one person completed, who is a leader, completed a PhD in this supply chain scenario. How they consider this as a supply chain event. That's why very interesting. Now let me see some description, then I will show some videos how they implemented this supply chain activities in the Dabbawala. There is a Mumbai Dabbawala scenario. Now, which is actually started in 1890. Now, average the people, those who are involved in providing this lunch to the concerned persons, though they are having an average literacy rate of 8th grade, and number of Dabbawalas, more than 5,000 people are working in that Dabbawala job. Now, delivery, more than 200,000 lunch boxes are delivering per day in a proper manner. That's very, very interesting. Now, collection to delivery, they are taking 3 to 4 hours. Now, area covered approximately 70 kilometers. Now, mode of transport, bicycle or a metro train. They are not using any other private vehicles either. So we can say that up to some level it is a sustainability is there in their mode of transport. Earning maybe 5k to 6k, maybe it changed now, and they are getting some bonuses regarding some festival seasons. And 0%, that is very interesting, as I mentioned, 0% fuel, because they depends upon the common transportation system, metro train and the bicycles. So 0% investment in fuel, technology and dispute are there. And finally, it is coming under 6 sigma level. That is, there is only one mistake in 16 million deliveries. 99.999% accuracy in their performance. So this is a structure of their working scenario. There will be a president, vice president. There some Hindi terms are there for this president, vice president and all. Then general secretary, treasurer, directors, they are the head of these members. Okay, so the organized structure of this Mumbai Dabbawalas. Now just I will show some videos. What is happening in a Dabbawala's life, and which who's the person became this organizing all this, who completed his PhD as a supply chain, considering this Dabbawala delivery of the lunch boxes in a proper way. By considering that as a scenario, then he completed a PhD. Let me stop here.
Friends, everybody, good evening.
Is it audible, sir?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, TDX.
Audible. Just
SSN give me opportunity on behalf of Dabbawala. For the first time in my life, after 550 sessions, I am delivering first time in 18 minutes. Give me best wishes, I will complete it. Friends, as far as Mumbai Dabbawalas are concerned, in Mumbai, these people are excellent. I am going to speak about the story. Believe me, you will learn a lot, provided you must have that passion to listen to them and to follow them, how they are working in Mumbai, friends. Basically, many people believe that Dabbawalas means they are caterers. Let me tell you, Dabbawalas are not caterers. Tiffin is yours and food contained in this is also yours. What we are doing in Mumbai, we are delivering your tiffin from your home to workplace before lunchtime. And lunch is over, we will deliver empty tiffin in the evening at home on the same day. It means we are doing 2 deliveries in a day. Friends, in Mumbai, you cannot carry tiffin yourself. The reason, You start very early morning in the morning. Even you want to reach at home 9 o'clock. You may start 6 o'clock. You don't want your mother or wife should cook 5 o'clock. So you cannot carry, you should carry your tiffin. Second reason, you cannot carry tiffin. The reason, crowded local train. In Mumbai, it's very difficult to board in local train with empty hand. Taking tiffin is out of question for you. You cannot carry yourself. So you want Dabawala in Mumbai?
Let me stop now because it is a lengthy video. Just I want to show what is the theory behind. Two more videos are there. There you can see how they are managed the bar. Is it okay, sir? Okay.
Yes, sir. The voice in the video is somewhat higher.
Higher, sir?
The voice in the video is somewhat higher than yours.
Okay, okay.
That's why we couldn't hear what you were saying during playing the
okay,
video.
okay, sir, no problem.
Okay, sir. Sir, you are not audible right now.
No, sir. No. I'm not saying anything. Just you are
Okay,
getting
sir,
the
okay.
audio from video. Is it okay?
No, no audio, sir. It is not playing this post.
Stop. Okay, just one second.
Eating out is not yet
What about now, sir?
the Dabawalas.
Yes, sir, what is playing?
Okay.
From preparation to distribution, this century-old system is a model of efficiency. And the linchpin of the entire operation is the railroad. In India, custom dictates what you eat and who prepares it. In some places, eating out is not yet in. Every day in the suburbs of Mumbai, thousands of wives make lunch for thousands of husbands. Each meal goes into a reusable canister and into the hands of a Dabawala. At each train station, the canisters are sorted by destination. Servants of the train's unyielding schedule, the Dabawalas have to hustle. They have just 30 seconds. This may be the world's only large-scale delivery system that works without documents. 200,000 lunches every day and not a shred of paper. Paper wouldn't work. Most Dabawalas can't read. Yet their low-tech system of colors, numbers and letters is almost foolproof.
This is the code mark for the station. This 9 code is for the person who makes the delivery. The market it goes to is marked here as M. That's the code for the market. And the D0 is the number it is delivered to.
Ramachandra Sate has delivered lunches for 27 years. He hasn't mixed up a single order. If he ever did, someone wouldn't eat.
Because the people who eat from these boxes come from all castes. If you give a man from South India the food from a Muslim family, he can't eat it. He won't even open it. So we never mix up the boxes.
He's not exaggerating. The Dabbawala system is recognized as one of the best managed supply chains in the world. Forbes magazine awarded the system its highest rating, Sigma 6, a rating shared with corporate giants like General Electric and Motorola. Sigma 6 means no more than one error per 1 million transactions. Only two things can derail the Dabbawalas. One is their own lifeline.
Our life itself depends on the train. If the train comes to a halt, so will the Dabbawalas.
I have one more single video related to this. So just shown in the video, this is one of the best supply chain. So we are thinking supply chain is only delivering producing some product and delivering to the customer. The supply chain is considering this aspect also. Okay, because they are not caterers, they are providing the food from the home and the concerned person, because the people are leaving early from home. The husbands are leaving early from home due to the traffic congestion in Mumbai and all the cities. So they may not be able to take their lunches with them. So they are depends upon this Dabbawala. So one more small video. Just on the importance of color coding.
Sunil Gawande is a man in
Is it
a
okay,
hurry.
sir?
He's
Yes, I want
racing
to.
against the clock. He collects a dabba, a lunchbox. He has 1 hour. Today he has to pick up 19 dabbas, load them on his cycle and get to the local station by 10:30. Gawande is part of a network of dabbawalas or lunchbox men who pick up food from your home in the morning and deliver it to your office by lunchtime. It's an efficient way to get a home-cooked meal without leaving your workplace in one of the world's most congested cities. 5,000 dabbawalas deliver 200,000 meals a day. They move around the city on foot, on bikes, on trains, never stopping, even for torrential rain. Their boxes are on time, every time, and they always reach the right person. I have never delivered the wrong box anywhere, says Sunil. Forbes magazine gave the Dabbawalas a 6 Sigma standard, which means 99.9% of deliveries are made without an error. Or put another way, less than one mistake for every 6 million deliveries.
These dabbawalas are sorting out boxes in the middle of the train. They use no technology at all. No computers, no walkie-talkies, no mobile phones. Just a simple system based on colors and numbers.
How does it work? The secretary of the Mumbai Dabbawala Association says its collection and distribution system is simple. They use color coding. He says the green code on the top of this box tells a Dabbawala where to pick up the box from and the red ones where to deliver them. These colors and codes are crucial because most of the lunchbox men can't read or write. No one is really educated. Maybe they've studied up to the 2nd or 3rd grade, maximum the 5th grade, he says. These dabbawalas say sometimes they don't even need to look at the codes. Sunil Gawande keeps it all in his head. Just by looking at the bag, he knows where it's got to go. Once Sunil gets off the train, it's a quick dash to a cycle waiting outside the station. It's been left there for him by another